What's happening, people? It's Winston here, okay, for Open Hands Art and Animation. And today we are talking about Megalopolis, the mega movie by mega director Francis Ford Coppola, the director of The Godfather and other movies, okay? Apocalypse Now, so on and so forth. If you've seen them. All right. Now, today we're going to get right into this. I got about 10, 12 points about this movie. I haven't made a review on the movie in a while, but I saw it and say, you know what, it's time to get back to it. Okay, so let's pull up point number one. Point number one, and if you like this, of course, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Okay, gotta say that, hit the like button. Okay, so if you like what we watching, support the channel. Number one, point number one. The movie has control mania to an extreme degree. This movie is probably the most manic movie I've ever seen. Okay, now some of you guys may say, "Well, man, have you seen The Wolf of Wall Street and so on and so forth?" It's a lot of movies with a lot of crazy stuff, but this movie, the way it's put together, the way the movie is put together, it's done in such a manic way. I cannot remember the last time I've seen a movie put together like this, because not only is it telling you its main story, but then there's all kind of artsy stuff and just like dream stuff and just stuff mixed into such a degree. It's very, very crazy in the way that it's put together. I'm not saying that it's bad by doing. I'm just saying it's very, very it's an amount of mania. If there's a mania meter, this movie will break it. Trust me, this movie has a mania level that's unbelievable. Okay, let's pull up point here number two. All right, I'm gonna tell you guys what I think of this movie, like the score and all kinds of stuff. I actually have a score, 1 out of 10 score. Okay, with the movie, I'm gonna tell you why. All right, I'm gonna tell you the good and the bad in this list. Okay, I'm telling you the good things and the bad things in this movie, in this list. Okay. I am a director myself, working on a movie right now. Okay, I've been doing it. I've been in the film game. I've been in the videography game, editing game. All right, since the early 2000s. So I'm not new to this, as people say. I'm true to this. So let's move on up here to numbers. You're not just watching a regular guy on YouTube. I just had to say it. I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from when I'm making these points. Okay, number two, movie looks great. All right, shot selection and environments. Okay, it has very good shot selection. The movie really has that. Okay, um, one of the opening scenes is Adam Driver. Okay, looking out from, and the way it's even set up, I like it. The movie kind of shows a certain building in New York City, right? Well, in the movie it's called it's called like New Rome or something like that, right? But it's basically New York City. Okay, they show a certain building. All right, the camera kind of zooms in on a certain building. Then you see him on top of the building. And I thought to myself, that's so cool. Just the way it kind of cut to that. Okay, I thought that was really, really, really cool. Okay, of course he was not really on top of that building doing what he was doing. Standing on the edge of the building like you see on the trailers. But they recreated it. Had a model or whatever. But I just thought it was very cool the way a lot of things were done. A lot of the scenes were set up in a really cool way. The color was good. Cinematography very, very well done. There were times. Oh, somebody calling me. They tell them to call them back. Sorry about that, y'all. I was actually just call somebody to tell them about the movie, and they they didn't pick up, and they gonna call me now. I'm doing this review. But anyway, there were certain shots where I was like, this could have been shot in a different, like, it's just certain things that I saw. This is from a cinematographer point of view, where I was like, this could have been set up a different way. Certain shots where I thought that he had certain actors that they just had a certain look, like Aubrey Plaza, for example. People that I feel like have a certain look that you could really, play to the film's benefit if you shot them a certain way. And sometimes they were just shot just a plain way. And I don't understand why, you're not gonna go in anymore. Just shot in the base. It's certain shots, but I don't want to go too much into it. But just certain things. If you're cinematography, you may know what I'm talking about. It doesn't make it feel bad any kind of way at all. It's just that. It's just certain things I wish they could have been a little different, but it's just each director and each cinematographer has their own way of doing things. Okay, but once again, overall, I thought it was shot very, very well. All right, and another thing in the movie another thing the movie did good was it shot things. It used the use of black was very, very good in the movie. So I'm trying to say that in a clear way. The way that they use black, okay, the way they use blacks, the way they sometimes characters seem to be coming out or emerging out of the darkness. I really like that. Okay, it's a real comic book esque type of thing that was done in the movie. Let's move on to the next point here. Not trying to belabor this. Made this video too long. Number three, okay. The script written to be larger than life in scale. Okay, and that is for sure. This movie was definitely written to be larger in life. No matter if you like the script or not, I appreciated the fact that the director, Francis Ford Coppola, okay, said, you know what, this is going to be a tour de force. This movie is going to be, yeah, I don't care if you like it or not. All right, which is what the trailer showed, how he was saying how he got a lot of bad reviews, but people liked it. I think people will like this movie. I think this is the kind of movie, all jokes aside, this is the kind of movie where people are going to watch it and be like, even if they don't like it, they'll be like, listen, watch this movie just because it's so crazy. It's literally that kind of movie where it's like, it's so crazy. People will watch it just to see it, even if they don't like it. People that don't like it will, I believe, will tell people to watch it, even though they don't like it, just because it's so crazy. And if you got a movie like that, you got something on your hands. Okay, you can make a movie. Literally, it's like, to me, it's like Spike Lee. I always say Spike Lee. He gives his all, whatever he does, whether it's a movie you like it or don't like. You can never say Spike Lee makes a movie and he does not try. Okay, he just is lazy with it. You know, he doesn't. He's not a lazy director. Okay, and Francis Ford Coppola is the exact same way, in my opinion. So it's definitely written to be larger than life. You can just tell from the way it is from the very beginning. He has people. Well, I'll go into more points to explain why, but definitely written to be larger than life. Let's move on to the next point here. Where are we at here? Point number 4. This is something I don't like in the movie. Too many quick cuts at times. Okay, it's points in the movie where I couldn't help notice where something was happening and it would just cut and cut and cut and cut and cut. I'm like, why are you cutting so many times? Why am I only seeing something for 2 seconds and then you're cutting something else? Then cutting something else. I almost felt like he was trying to acquiesce to modern day cinematography. I don't know if that's the case. But I don't know if he always does that. I mean, I've seen other films that he's done, like The Godfather, and he doesn't seem to not do it like that. I've never seen it in Godfather. But his movie was times where he kept on cutting. And I just cannot understand what was the point of it, and it bothered me. Okay, and it caused, let me see what we have here. See right here says, I have here too many quick cuts at times. Because of this, even important text is unreadable, which is a timing issue and editing oversight. Okay, there are times where, and it's more than one time in the movie where important text will pop up, which you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into it with you. You'll see what I'm talking about if you watch the movie. Important text pops up on the screen that they want you to read, and you literally cannot read it because it cuts so quickly. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that would be maybe okay if this was a YouTube video and you were trying to make people rewind to trick the algorithm, or whatever, or if it was something that someone had on the streaming. But this is a movie in the movie theaters. Okay, you cannot make something so fast that I literally cannot read it, but you want me to read it, and it's a technical story. Not only that, but there were just things that were just happening that were, like, for example, there's a scene where someone was in a room, in the bedroom, and something was going on, and it was just like cut. It must have been like 10 cuts within like a matter of few seconds. I'm like, why is it cutting so much? The scenes are being held for like one and a half seconds. I'm like, why? Like, shots, excuse me, over this 1.5 seconds. I'm like, wow, over and over again. It started becoming dizzy and irritating. Okay, and that was definitely bothersome. Okay, let's continue on to the next point here. Okay, I don't believe it's a matter of opinion when I say that. When I say that's, in my opinion, an error, I don't think that's a matter of my own opinion or someone's opinion. There are things that are, like I said earlier, are just maybe my opinion, but something like that, I don't think it's my opinion. I think that's a problem, and that the movie does have. It's not an opinion thing. When you have things that you want people to pay attention to, and the movie's so quick they can't even look at it, that's a problem. Okay, I think that maybe it was something that in the editing, but maybe Francis Ford Coppola maybe didn't see that. Maybe he didn't spend enough time maybe he told the editors, change this, and they just did do what he said. I don't know. Maybe he said the timeline here, this is a little off. I don't know. Or maybe he just, didn't notice. I don't know. But somehow it was definitely times where I'm like, stuff's going too quick. But then later in the movie, I felt like that kind of stopped, in my opinion. Later in the movie, I didn't see as much of that. Move on to point number 5 here. Speech at times is difficult to understand. Even the whole blocks of speech. Okay. Now, once again, I'm not trying to rag on this movie and it's tear it apart, but there are things that I have to point out by this movie, okay, that were definitely issues, okay. There are definitely times when I was watching this movie and I was like, what on earth are they saying? It was a part where somebody was singing in the movie, and I was like, I don't understand a word they're saying, and I'm literally like sitting up in the seat, like, yeah, I'm invested. I will be invested so I can understand what's going on. Especially since I'm a filmmaker. This is a major director. one of the biggest directors of our time. Okay, who's made some of the biggest hits. And I'm sitting here watching it. I mean, this is a guy that people study in film school. This director, Francis Ford Coppola. Okay, so it's not just anybody. He's not just a fly-by-night director. And I'm like, I can't understand what they're saying. At this point, I can't understand what they're singing. All right, and I was like, I'm gonna ride with it, because if that's the case, I'm sure the important things that people are saying will be slowed down. And I can't say in this movie that is the case. Okay, so there are parts where there are things people are saying I just couldn't understand. I personally think it may have been just the way the volume was. I don't know. I was in the theater, like I guess the big type theater. I don't know what you call it. It was a theater where you had to pay $20. Okay, it was a bigger theater. The sound was good, but there was certain points where it seemed like the audio was just low, especially on like Adam Driver. There, people, Adam Driver's voice sometimes can be sometimes hard to understand depending on what he's saying. He's speaking low, in my opinion. But just other people too. I noticed sometimes I was like, what are they saying? And I was trying to understand. But then at other times in the movies, in my opinion, in the second half of the film, it seemed to be it was cleaned up more. Okay, just noticed that now. I noticed certain things I noticed in the beginning of the movie I didn't notice in the second half of the movie. Okay, but like I said, don't believe me. Watch the movie and listen when a certain person starts to sing like in a song. I guarantee you'll be like, what on earth are they saying? Maybe that was intentional. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But that's what I was thinking. I was thinking to myself while I was watching it. How is it that I'm trying to understand this stuff with all my heart, and I cannot understand this stuff? All right, but let's move on. Okay, number 6. Who do I root for? Myself, I guess. Okay, I say that because the way this movie is, the way the movie is, out of all the characters in the movie, in my opinion, I personally cannot connect with anyone to say this is a person who's like the hero. Okay, though there are people that are supposed to be more heroic than others, they all are tainted characters. So somebody would say, "Oh, well, that's a good thing." There doesn't need to be any kind of clean cut, white knight, and I understand that. Okay, the way I write, I like having characters that are tainted myself. But in this movie, the way that it's written, I don't want to really give it away, but the way things are written, it's kind of hard for me to say without giving myself away. But the way things are written, there are characters that are set to be good. I'll say that. Then they're set to be like a villain, and then there's another point I forgot to put on the list when I'm saying this. Okay, they're set to be a villain. Then they're set to be good. Then it's like they're set to be a villain again. I'm like, so in the movie, I'm watching. I'm like, what? Like what is that? Who's really the person that I'm supposed to root for? And then, and I had to figure myself, I guess, because the movie kind of leaves you almost like that, like this is your world that you live in, because this movie is a type of allegory, like a metaphor. And at the end of the day, you be the hero. Is anything wrong with that? No, the movie can do that. But I will say this movie does have an issue with clarity. To me, the biggest issue with this movie overall is clarity. Whether it's the sound, whether it's my audio, like I was saying, with hearing people are saying, just with quick cuts, all those different things I mentioned, it's about clarity. All right, that's for me the biggest drawback in this film is clarity. But this movie has a lot to offer. All right. But once again, who do I root for? Myself, I guess. Not necessarily a bad thing. Just something that I was like, I kind of thought that at the end of the movie. All right. Because I personally didn't like almost anyone in the movie at all. The one person I did like was not really a main character. Okay. Actually, there was one person I did like at the end, but this person was like a villain. Okay. I did like, it was Shia LaBeouf's character. I did like his character, that's for sure. Okay. I think most people will like his character at the end of the day. Okay. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Okay, here. Shia LaBeouf shines. Okay. I know it's not how you spell his last name. I just put it in there. Okay. I ain't feel like looking up how you spell it, but it's late at night here. It's like 10, 11 o'clock at night here. But anyway, Shia LaBeouf shines. All right. Most surely, in my opinion, he does. He plays that role. I wish he had more lines in the movie, but he plays the role. I personally feel like Shia LaBeouf is the kind of person that was born to act. Seriously, it may seem funny. Some people may can't stand Shia LaBeouf, but I really felt like he was born. Some certain people, certain actors, I look at them, and I can say, this person is really doing what they were born to do. And I feel like Shia LaBeouf is one of those people. He's really doing what he was actually born to do. Okay, whether you like him or not. All right, and I gotta respect him for that. Move on to the next person, Aubrey Plaza. Hopefully, I'm spelling her name right here. Said they're gonna know my name. Okay, this woman acted her behind off less than halfway to the movie. I was like, you know what? She is giving her all for this role, and I was loving every minute of it. Okay, because the way she was just bringing this character. Another thing about the movie that I like is that the movie has an insidious feel to it that you would get from a lot of which the movie tries to copy off of. A lot of the old, plays like Julius Caesar and so on and so forth, like where there's like an undertone, an evil undertone, that is shared amongst the different characters because they all have something going on with them. Okay, and I like that she really brings that. Another thing this movie has that I think is really cool is that though it's not a superhero movie, it's not a superhero movie at all. But there are people in this movie that have special powers that the movie does not flat out say they have special powers, but you just come to find that they do have powers to do certain things, okay? And I think that is such a cool thing, the way that the director wrote that, because he wrote it and directed this movie, I believe. And I think that's such a cool thing. There's a character in this movie that has the power to manipulate certain things. There's a there's a few characters. And one character, not, what's his name? Not Adam Driver, but it's another character that has the ability to manipulate things. That when I found out what they could do, I thought to myself, wow, that is so cool. Like they're basically like a superhero. Okay, so many people are like superheroes in the movie. Okay, so I thought I like the way he just threw it in there. I like also the fact that, in my opinion, the director is very, very ballsy. He's very, very. I don't know if this is something people say, but gutsy. I guess you could say very, very ballsy. He has a lot of guts in the way that he just kind of pushes certain things in his film, and it's almost like he's saying, accept it, just accept it. Now, some people may look at that and laugh and say, yeah, because the movie's so bad and he's just throwing everything at you, he doesn't really care, you accept it. I feel like he's saying, this is my art, I'm going to assemble things this way, this is what Coppola is doing, and you kind of learn his mind as you're watching, and because of the length of the movie and everything, the way it's put together, you do at the end of the day, you do understand it. Though there is, like I said, even though the movie does have an issue, in my opinion, of clarity, you do understand what he's trying to say at the end of the day, and that's why I appreciate this film, because at the end of the day, this movie to me is like a puzzle. All right, it's like a puzzle that has to be assembled. All right, in filmmaking, one of the things they always tell you is within the first 10 minutes or so of a film, maybe 7 minutes if you can do that, you want to let the viewer, all right, at that point, they should have something to grab onto. You should have thrown your hook into them. The viewer is like a fish. You're supposed to throw your hook into them. I mean, you throw your bait on them, and they're supposed to be hooked, as usually within the first 10 minutes. Hooked by maybe the fact that the main character lost their wife or their husband, or, like in a movie, what's the movie called? Breakdown, where you've seen it with Kurt Russell. Pretty good movie where his wife is kidnapped and he's trying to find his wife and this and that. Or, any movie you think of where there's something that happens and the person's trying to get resolved. Okay. A lot of times that the seeds of that, or that something happens near the beginning of a movie. Okay. To keep you hooked, or so that you stay and continue to watch till the end. Like, you get to believe. This movie doesn't do that, in my opinion. I was watching this movie. I looked at my phone. And I said, okay, we passed the 10-minute mark here. And I'm like, I really don't know what's going on. All right, maybe 15 minutes. I'll still sit there saying to myself, I really don't know what's going on here. Like, I'm seeing certain things develop, but I really don't understand what's going on. But by the end of the movie, I understood exactly what's going on. Okay, this movie to me resembles more so a British movie in the sense that it's not thinking the audience is dumb. Let's pander to the audience the entire time, which is what a lot of American movies do. The audience doesn't have an attention. The audience has the attention span of a toddler. So let's just throw it all at them right now. Give them everything in the trailer and throw everything at them. I'm not saying that making a movie where you're giving lots of away, or where everything's not slow, is bad. But the way this movie does it, it's as if they're like, look, y'all want to stay and watch this because y'all want to watch it because you're fans of the director and you believe in his vision. That's really how this movie is written. It really, really is like that. Okay. I mean, if he could have stretched this out more, I believe that he would have. Okay. I believe if this man could have made the movie 4 hours long, he would have made it 4 hours long. All right, because the movie, and also the movie didn't seem long. I don't know how long it was, but it didn't seem long at all to me. Okay, I actually may seem funny, but I actually wish the movie was actually longer. Okay, because it was a lot of things actually that I thought were not were not fully resolved. Okay, and I was like, I wish they spent a little more time with this. Okay, now somebody can say, well, that's the script. That's the way he wrote the script. It wasn't. He could have put certain things in there and took things out and this and that, and I can see that. But I don't feel like the movie was jam packed with just wasted stuff. In my opinion, the stuff that was in there was important to a degree, and he was showing off certain things. All right, at the end of the day, but there was but once again clarity. And I don't think I had this in my list, but there are things in the movie that simply were not resolved, which I was kind of upset about. Another thing, which I don't think is on my list, is that there are things in this movie that I didn't understand, and they were never completely explained at all. And I'm talking about important things. Like there were certain things that they were like, for example, I want to say this. Okay, it maybe seem like a spoiler, but I'm gonna have to say this. There's a certain thing in the movie where something's going on with Adam Driver's wife, okay? And the movie is trying to explain a mystery regarding his wife. And the way they explain it, to me, is so sloppily done. It's as if, in my opinion, they don't even care if you really understand what's going on. It is so sloppily done. They give you points at different times, but they never really explain what's going on. I'm saying to myself the whole time, just explain what's happening. Why are you trying to hide stuff to this degree? At the end of it, I was like, I don't even care no more. Like, I'm just like, why? Like, I don't understand. To me, I felt it was oversight. I felt it was just something that maybe the director just forgot to. Seriously, I really feel it was certain things in the movie the director just kind of forgot to clarify. I really, really do. The biggest problem in the movie is clarity. It's a clarity. There's certain things just unclear. And I feel like the director himself, he had it in his mind, because when you write a script, if you've ever written before, you may not have, but if you have, or write anything, you understand there's a vision that you have in your mind, and then there's what you actually write down. And I think that what happened with this script is that, when you write a script, you can have 10 different ways the script could be written in your mind, and you have to choose one that you write down. I think that because of that, some of the things that he had in his mind that he was going to clarify, he just never actually wrote them down, okay? But it's in his mind, but it's not written down. And that's one of the biggest problems for any writer, is that you make sure that things are super clear for the person who's viewing. Because in your mind, it can be super clear, but it may not be that clear to the person viewing it. You understand what I'm saying? And it's harder, it's most difficult for the person who actually wrote it, because in their mind, everything is clear. In their mind, the prequel, the sequel, also is in their mind, but for the person who watched it, they don't understand it. So I think that for him, I think that was an error for sure on Francis Ford Coppola's part. Is just certain things with clarity, okay? And like I said, certain things just never being resolved. And you watch the movie. That's why if a person were to hate on this movie, and some people are, I can understand why they are hating. Though in my opinion, I feel like when they say that it's the worst, I saw people online saying it's the worst movie in the world, and this and that, and that's absolutely untrue. It's a very, in my opinion, it's a. Well, I'm not going to say how I feel just yet, so I get to the score, but I don't believe that it's a trash movie as people are saying it's the worst movie in the world. Okay, let's move on to the next point here, though. Let me see here. Number 9. Movie should get a few awards. I definitely think the movie should get a few awards. I think that it's going to be nominated, but I really think it should get more than a few awards. All right. One reason I'm doing these reviews because I think some people are going to hate on this movie because other people hate on this movie. Because the way the world works today is, and has always worked, but even more so now more than ever with the internet. What the internet is that people will see reviews of this movie, make up in their mind that the movie is awful, watch the movie, and not pay attention to what's going on. Only think about the points that the person on YouTube said were bad, and then from there just say the movie is trash, and not actually paying attention to what the director is actually doing. Okay. Also, this movie is a more psychological film. Okay. I do believe this is a movie that if a person watched it more than once, they would get more out of it. Okay. I can't think of the last movie I've seen where I've said that in theaters in the past 5 years. Okay, seriously. There have been about 3 movies this year alone that I literally went to watch and just walked out. One of them was Twisters, I think it was called. I went and saw the movie, started falling asleep, trying to pay attention to it. I try to see certain movies just because I'm a filmmaker myself to see what's going on. Movie was so not paying so predictable. I just got up and left. Just to say, you know what? I just got up and left. and people probably, and that I'm sure got a higher rating in this movie. Okay, and then got like 80 or whatever, 70%. That movie was something that, in my opinion, was just something that it was not something that you need to invest your time watching. I regret paying to see a movie. Okay, but let's move on. Okay, definitely should get fewer awards because of the movie. The movie does a ton of stuff. Okay, it's the cinematography is crazy. Okay, it literally tries to merge, the old, the new, the different styles. Okay, at one point I thought it was almost a musical. And I was like, oh, I hope it's not a musical because I really like watching musicals. But it kind of goes from one thing to another, and it switches up in so many different ways. And I was like, but at the same time, you understand what's going on. You say, how can you say the movie has a clarity issue, but then you understand what's going on? Surprisingly, it's both. It's actually both. There are certain things that are unclear, but at the same time, and then you do understand what's going on. Okay, if you pay attention, you will understand what's going on. It's almost like an overall theme, the overall major themes in the movie. The film makes sure that you understand. Okay, but there are little parts about it. All right, it's almost like looking at a person and not being able to make out if they had pimples on their face or make out the color of their eyes, but knowing there's a person in front of you. That's how the movie, in my opinion, at times is like. All right, it's like certain things you just can't see, but you understand as a person there what they're doing. All right, moving on to the next point. Okay, amidst all the mania, which there's a lot of, the puzzle does come together. Well, I just went over that. Okay, and it's definitely a puzzle. Point 11. Why is there an E at? I don't know why that's there. Let me fix that real quick. Point 11 here. Point 11. Quite a few surprises. All right. Well, quite a few surprises that were welcome. All right, and that's for sure. There are times when I'm sitting there watching this movie, and I was like, oh, didn't expect that. Oh, didn't expect that. And it really reminded me of those movies you would see in the 90s or the 80s where they would ride you along and all of a sudden we would take a drastic turn and it will really, really catch you and really wake you up. This movie definitely does that. Okay, it definitely does it. This movie really is like a blast from the past in a way when it comes to the filmmaking side. I really liked it. Really liked and appreciated that. But yeah, I give kudos for that. Definitely a bunch of surprises. Number 12, the mix of reality and arts was well done. There are a lot of points where things are just like they go into a artsy, psychological, mental thing. Okay, that's the best way I can explain it. And at times you're like, what is this? But it all has a purpose. Okay, it all has a purpose and a reason. One thing I will say though, it's not in these points here, but I think I remember to say this. One point I think the movie that has too much of is it has too much, in my opinion, CG, which I think will date this movie in the future, which is unfortunate. All right, it's kind of like, Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, and movies like that. Those prequels where they have a lot of CG. If you watch them now, the CG is so obvious. Sometimes it's hard to watch. That's how this movie has a lot of CG at times. And I understand, like for example, there's a movie called Megalopolis. It's like a newer, futuristic. They're trying to build a newer, futuristic New York City, but they call New Rome, right? And when they start to show it, a lot of these things are CG. And I understand if he would actually make all this with practical effects, it would have cost him more because he paid out of his own pocket, from what I've heard, to make this movie. The director Francis Ford Coppola did. So to do all of that, physically create that stuff or make models of it somehow or make it look realistic, it would have cost a lot of money. So he did it in CG, which was more, I guess was cheaper. But to me, the CG did look all right. It looked okay. But still, I was watching like, I could tell that this is gonna look dated soon. And to me, there are points where the CG could have been better. Certain things, just the lighting, certain things just could have been better. All right, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't like, like the Flash. You've seen the Flash movie where at the end the CG was really, really bad. It wasn't like that. Overall, I thought the mix of it, the way he had this stuff mixed was very, very cool. Let's see here. 13 should get an award just on being able to merge modern language with old stage Julius Caesar lingo. That's for sure. The way he merged it together in this film, it was not hard to watch. It was not uncomfortable to listen to. It was very welcome. I thought it was very, very well written in the way that Francis Ford Coppola had written this movie. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. And he had a lot to juggle because the movie, is like in the regular, it's in our time. It's not like it's another world, but then it is another world at a time also. It's because it's like it's like another, it's like New York City, they're shooting New York City, but then there are certain things that they change, all right? Kind of like in the Dark Knight series where they're in Chicago, but then it's like supposed to be Gotham, and they're changing certain things. It's kind of like that. All right, so it's a lot. This guy literally this is almost like really like a comic book movie in a way. Okay, there's even people in the movie that have power, so it's literally like a comic book movie through the scope of Julius Caesar. Okay, but not at all times. At other times it's more regular, so it kind of switches, but it still makes sense. It's not hard to watch or listen to in that way. Which, if you told someone else to do that, most people will not be able to juggle the amount of things that this man was juggling to make this film. That's for sure. Probably 99 out of 100 people will not be able to do that. Okay. 14. Though the film was very manic at times, the tone was consistent and firm, and that's absolutely true. Now, watching any film, when you're watching, you're saying to yourself, well, what's the tone of this movie? What are they trying to go for? More realism? More campy? What is the tone? This movie, it was not going for super realism in my opinion at all. It was going for more of a play feel. The whole movie had like a play feel to it. Okay. It was like watching a stage play to a degree. But at the same time, I appreciated the way it was done. I appreciated it. The way that the tone from everybody just was, and it's crazy because there are people that act very, very different than other people in the movie. All right. But regardless, I was watching the movie and keeping account of the tone of how it was directed. How it was directed did not change. It was not going up and down, and switching around, all this kind of stuff. People may say, oh, well, the movie is very, very manic and this and that, but that may be true. But the tone overall of how people were supposed to be acting did not switch up. All right. And that's very, very hard for a movie of this scale and doing what this movie is doing. That's not all easy. Okay. 15. Okay. I'll give the movie, and this is my score. I'll give the movie a 7 or 8 out of 10. Okay, I'll give this movie a 7 or 8 out of 10. I would give the movie a 10 out of 10. I really would give the movie. The movie really should be a 10 out of 10, but there are clarity issues that hold this movie back from being perfect. All right. I don't care what anybody says. I cannot see how you can say the movie has no errors or has very, very few errors. Like, every piece of art has something that can be fixed, but a movie can still be a 10 out of 10 if things are bad based on opinion, this and that. But this movie has things that are not bad just based on opinion. It has things that are bad based on that they're just bad, and you can't find a way around it. When there are, things that people are saying, large swaths of dialogue that people are saying, and you literally can't understand what they're saying. People are saying you can't understand what they're saying. When there are major points in the film, I count probably at least 2 or 3 major points that are never fully explained. I mean, never fully explained. Where you can ask somebody at the end of the movie, well, why did so-and-so's wife do X, Y, Z? Why did this happen? What was that? Why did that happen? People will be like, I don't know. And the movie does not even tell you. It's like the movie doesn't even care to tell you. Somebody will say, oh, that was the director's. The director wanted to be like, he wanted to say, well, it was up to you to figure that out. And I can see someone saying that. But at the same time, the way the movie is, to me, it doesn't seem like that. It seems like it's something that was forgotten. But even if I gave him that, it's just a clarity. There are just certain things where a lot of the points there are a lot of times in the film I'm watching it, I'm sitting there saying, well, when is this going to be explained? And I don't understand this, I don't understand that. And there's too many points in the movie where I'm saying I don't understand this, I don't understand that. All right, too many times where I had to say that. That's why it's not a perfect score. But outside of that, if it wasn't for those things, it would have been a perfect score. This movie is far, far ahead of most stuff that you see in Hollywood today. No matter what I say about the movie negative, this movie still is leagues ahead of the modern movies that you see today. Okay? I don't care what anybody says. Not a perfect film, but it's still way better than a lot of stuff that you see today. All right? Was Twisters better than this? No. What other movies came out this year? I mean, pick one. None of them are better, really, and do the amount of work that this movie does. Let's tell you the truth, okay? So let me pull this up again. Oh, here we go. What am I doing here? A 7 or 8 out of 10, very powerful and different, and deserves a few awards, as I keep on saying. And then finally, I say the 2000s generation of Avengers filmgoers essentially versus the old generation. What I mean by that is that a lot of people, all right, a lot of the youth, for example, were born post 2000s, and they maybe were born in 2010s. All they know is the Avengers. All they know is these films that don't have great scripts. I know it may hurt some of y'all's hearts to hear that, but the truth is that the Avengers does not have, and those movies don't really have great scripts. All right, out of all the 20-something movies that came out from the Marvel films, their best scripts are Captain America, Winter Soldier, and maybe a few others. They don't have a lot of films with a lot of great scripts. Even the Infinity War. When I saw Infinity War, I said that movie really was just a bunch of CG fighting, people coming together, and Thanos showing up, but it wasn't really a great script. He was not written to be like my opinion, it just wasn't a great script. The second movie was even worse. A lot of people even agree that the second movie had a bunch of just things that didn't make any. They would say one thing with time, and then they would reverse it and say, "Oh, they can do this." But I was like, "Y'all just say y'all couldn't do that." Just a bunch of things didn't make any sense, or it just seemed off. Relying a ton on CG and CG fight scenes, big CG fight scenes. I used to always say, if you take away the big CG fight scenes from a lot of Marvel films, what are you really left with? Seriously, if you were to remove all of them, what are you really left with? The movie that can stand the best without all of that is Captain America: Winter Soldier. That's one of the only films that they have that can really stands up when you take a lot of that stuff away. Okay, the heart of any film is the script. I don't care what anyone tells you. That's the truth. It's not the special effects. It's not the music, though the music is very important because it helps with the tone. But it's the script. The script tells you. The script is the skeleton of the movie, like a skeleton of your human body. Like a skeleton, you would just fall apart. Okay, you wouldn't be able to stand up at all. You wouldn't be able to raise your arm. The script is the skeleton of any film. All right, and most films today don't even have a skeleton, or they barely have a skeleton. And the skeleton is super thin and will just break apart with a leaf blowing on it. Okay, this is true. This movie has a skeleton. The movie has a strong script, and I'm saying this from a person, my point of view regarding the things I'm not going to go into because I want to give more stuff away than I already have. But there are ideologies that this movie pushes that I don't agree with. Okay, for sure. Especially me, I'm a Christian. There are certain things that are pushing the movie regarding atheism and other things I really don't agree with at all. But even though I don't agree with this stuff, I still can understand what this guy is doing, and based on his art and the work, I have to say, look, I do respect what he did, and I can understand it. Okay. So from that point of view, yeah, definitely a 7, 8 out of 10. But once again, going back to the youth of today, okay, in this generation, all right. Like I saw this guy who did a video, right? Actually left a comment on this guy's video on YouTube where he was asking people questions about the movie. They just saw a movie. They came out of the theater, and he said, "What do you thought of this film?" And one girl was like, "Oh, the movie she was kind of tearing it up." And I was like, "Well, you can't blame her because the movie does have some issues." But then she was, like I could tell based on what she was saying that she really didn't have she didn't see a lot of stuff. Okay, like really good films. They asked him like, who's your favorite director and this and that, and a lot of them, their favorite directors like really didn't. They did like stuff that was like, They really even, you could tell you a lot of them didn't even really know what a really good film was, in my opinion. I remember years ago I went to the theater with my sister, right? And I saw Batman, The Dark Knight 3. I forget what it was called. It was the one with Bane, right? I remember I went to the theater and I asked this young guy, I said, "Is this movie any good?" And he said, "This is the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life." And I went in and saw the movie. I thought the movie was a 5 out of 10. I didn't think it was that good. Okay. And I don't see how you could think that movie was very good when the main villain of the movie, Bane, was literally hit with a motorcycle when they're in the movie and never seen again. And that's a fact. Watch the movie. He was hit with a motorcycle and never seen again. And this was be the main villain of the movie. All right. I thought the movie was terrible in my opinion. The beginning was okay, but outside of the beginning, I thought the movie wasn't that good at all. The Dark Knight 3, whatever it's called, okay? Dark Knight Rises, I think it's called. Well, anyway, this guy said, "It's the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life." The only problem is that he was like 16 years old. Well, of course, it was the best movie he ever seen in his entire life. It's probably one of the only movies he ever seen in his entire life, okay? So that's it. Based on what you watch will determine your view on not right or wrong, but that actually that's also true. But that's not what I meant to say. But it will control, what you deem as being good and not good. Okay, in the film world. All right, and a lot of what's been pushed out over the past some years has been poor writing, a lot of CG, a lot of special effects. I forget which director said this. Maybe it's Scorsese or somebody who said that a lot of these films are not even real cinema, and he was 100% right. A lot of people started hating on the guy and saying, "You shouldn't say that. You're an old man." No, he was 100% right. Okay, should have said it. Should have said it again if he had it. Okay, he's 100% correct. It's not real cinema. I remember when I saw Avengers 1. Do I like Avengers 1? It's entertaining, but still, I remember when I saw Avengers 1, the first thing I thought was, why is this movie shot like it's a TV show? All right, if you watch Avengers 1, look at it, and I noticed this in the theater. Okay, that the cameras that they use, the way they set the lighting up, it's like a TV show. But they can do that because it was the first Avengers and everybody wanted to see it and never saw anything like that before. Okay, they built all this up and they knew we could do almost anything and people would watch it. And this is exactly what happened. Only problem is that they kept on doing stuff like that and bringing in minimal writing and having first time writers come on that don't have a lot of experience, and it's giving us almost anything. People were just gobbling it down. Okay, and they made billions of dollars off of these films. Okay, which really, in my opinion, hurt the overall film industry. That's why I like movies like this that come out there so different. That say, look, we're not gonna do none of that mess. And even if people hate it, at the end of the day, we know this is art and powerful art. Okay, so that's my review. I don't want to belabor this anymore. I'll go on about this. Okay, because this is my line of work. All right. And I got a movie coming up myself. Okay. I'll maybe put it in the description or links to it, something like that in the description. Okay. And I'll be putting stuff about my movie coming out, and you guys should see that in theaters, hopefully a lot of theaters. Okay. When it releases in 2025. All right. All right, y'all. Thank you guys for watching. It's your guy. It's your boy Winston here. Until next time. Peace.